Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about something that matters just as much as plot, and maybe even more. Namely, how to create characters readers actually care about. Because here's the truth. Readers don't fall in love with plot twists. They fall in love with people. They'll forgive a simple storyline. They'll forgive familiar tropes. They will even forgive a slower pace. But they will not keep reading if they don't care about the person at the center of the story. So, how do you create a character who feels real, layered, and emotionally engaging? Well, for starters, it's important to give them a clear, specific desire. This is the foundation. If your character doesn't want something specific, then readers don't know what to root for. Because vague goals like be happy isn't specific. Neither is find love or fix their life. These don't create reader interest, but a concrete goal like win custody of their child, prove they didn't commit the crime, save the family business before it collapses, this is something a reader can get behind. Now they're engaged. Why? Because desire creates direction, and more importantly, desire creates vulnerability, since wanting something means you can lose it. For example, in a story about a woman returning to her small hometown, the plot can't just be she goes home. It's so much better if she wants to sell the family home quickly and leave, but staying forces her to confront the estranged sister she hasn't spoken to in 10 years. Now we're watching because she wants one thing, escape, and the story is forcing her toward the opposite. Clear desire, immediate tension. Next, give the character something to lose. Stakes are emotional glue. Readers care when outcomes matter. If your protagonist fails and nothing changes, then why should we worry? If they succeed and nothing shifts, why celebrate? Caring is directly connected to consequence. For example, let's say your character wants a promotion. That's fine, but why does it matter? Is it the only way they can afford medical treatment for someone they love? Is it tied to proving themselves after years of being underestimated? Is failure going to confirm their deepest insecurity? Now the promotion isn't just about money, it's about identity, and identity stakes can be powerful. Readers care when the outcome affects how the character sees themselves. Also, give your character flaws, but make them understandable. Perfect characters are forgettable, but flaws alone aren't enough. The flaw has to make sense. If your character is controlling, what's the reasoning behind it? Maybe they grew up in chaos, maybe control is how they feel safe, or if they're emotionally distant, then what's the reasoning behind it? Maybe vulnerability once cost them something significant. The thing to keep in mind here is that readers don't need to agree with a character's behavior, but they do need to understand it. For example, a character who refuses to trust anyone could feel frustrating, but if we know that the last person they trusted betrayed them publicly, then that flaw becomes self-protective, not irritating. In other words, flaws become compelling when they're rooted in history. Adding to this, it's also important that we see the character struggle. For while competence is impressive, struggle is human, and readers connect most deeply in moments of doubt, fear, embarrassment, or internal conflict. If your protagonist moves through the story unshaken, then they may feel distant. Instead, let them hesitate. Let them make a mistake. Let them misjudge someone. Let them make the wrong choice and deal with the fallout. Struggle creates intimacy. Just think about scenes from novels that have stayed with you. Oftentimes it's not the victory, but the moment before the big decision, the trembling hands, the unsent message, the quiet realization that something has to change. That's where readers attach emotionally. Piling on, it's also good to give the characters contradictions, since real people are inconsistent. Your character can be confident professionally, but insecure in relationships. They can be brave in a crisis, but afraid of confrontation. And they can be generous with strangers, but guarded around family. You see, contradictions create depth. They prevent your character from feeling like a single trait walking around in a story. For example, a detective who is fearless when confronting criminals avoids visiting their aging parent in the hospital. Now we have tension within the person, not just around them. And internal tension is incredibly compelling. Next, show your character's choices under pressure. This is critical. Readers decide whether they care about a character based on what that character does when it's difficult. Because anyone can be kind when things are easy, but who are they when telling the truth will cost them something? When protecting someone means sacrificing their own goal, or when staying silent would be safer? Choices reveal character faster than description. You don't build emotional investment through backstory paragraphs, you build it through decisions your character makes on the page. Something else that's important is to allow growth, even if it's small. Because a static character feels incomplete. That being said, growth doesn't have to mean a total personality overhaul. Sometimes it's subtle. Maybe a character who begins the story unable to ask for help finally does. Or a character who avoids confrontation finally speaks up. Or maybe a character who blames others accepts responsibility. Readers care when they witness change. Change feels meaningful because it mirrors real life, and it makes the journey feel purposeful. You should also give your character a personal lens. To clarify, two characters can experience the same event and react completely differently. That reaction is what makes them distinct. For example, if your character loses their job, character number 1 might feel shame, character number 2 might feel relief, and character number 3 might feel panic. Their internal interpretation is what makes them unique. So instead of only asking what happens next, also ask, how does this specific person interpret what just happened? That lens is where personality lives. And finally, don't try to make them likable. This is actually really important because the truth is, readers don't need likable, they need compelling. In fact, some of the most unforgettable characters are difficult, morally gray, stubborn, or abrasive, but they're active, they're layered, they're internally consistent. You should therefore focus on making your character clear in desire, honest in emotion, consistent in motivation, and capable of change. Likability often follows naturally, but chasing it directly can flatten your character. So, if you're struggling with a character right now, ask yourself this: do I know what they want? Do I know what they fear? Do I know what they would never admit out loud? If you can answer those 3 questions clearly, then you're on solid ground. Before we wrap up, I'd love to know what makes you care about a character when you're reading. Is it vulnerability, strength, humor, growth? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you're building your own novel and want practical, realistic advice about plotting, structure, and character development, you can subscribe for new videos each week. And remember, creating characters readers care about isn't about making them perfect. It's about making them human, specific, pressured, flawed, and capable of change. That's what stays with us long after we finish the last page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.